The African plain was quiet in the way only vast places can be. Not silent, but watchful. Dust hung low over the grass, glowing faintly under the late afternoon sun. Somewhere far away, birds cried out, not in alarm yet, but with unease. A young buffalo calf stood near the edge of the herd, its legs still unsure, its breathing shallow and fast. It had been born only weeks ago, still learning when to run, still learning when to stay close. The herd moved slowly, heavy bodies shifting like a living wall. Mothers flanked their young, horns angled outward, eyes scanning the horizon. They had crossed this land many times before. They knew its dangers, but danger never announces itself. In the tall grass, low and almost invisible, a lioness lay pressed against the earth. Her coat blended perfectly with the dry savanna. Her muscles were tense, drawn tight by hunger and instinct. She had not eaten properly in days. Her ribs showed faintly beneath her skin, not weakness, but urgency. Every breath she took was controlled, every movement calculated. Her eyes were locked on one thing only, the calf. It lagged behind, distracted by a patch of greener grass, unaware of how far it had drifted from safety. The distance was small, only a few meters, but in the wild, that space was everything. The lioness lowered her head. She waited. A gust of wind shifted the grass. The herd paused. A mother buffalo turned, sensing something wrong, her nostrils flaring. The lioness knew she had seconds. Then she moved. She exploded from the grass in a blur of power and dust, closing the distance in heartbeats. The ground seemed to shake beneath her paws. Birds erupted into the sky. The calf froze, not from stupidity, but from fear, too big for its small body to understand. The lioness struck hard, slamming into the calf's side, knocking it off balance. Dust rose in thick clouds as the calf cried out, a raw, piercing sound that cut through the air. The herd reacted instantly. Massive heads turned, hooves thundered, horns dropped. The mother charged. The lioness gripped the calf, teeth sinking into flesh. Not deep yet, not killing. She knew better. She needed to drag it away first, always away from the herd. But the mother was fast. She slammed into the lioness with full force, horns grazing fur, nearly lifting her off the ground. Other buffalo followed, forming a deadly circle of muzzle and rage. The lioness released her grip and leapt back just in time, dust coating her face, heart pounding. For a moment, everything stopped. The calf lay on the ground, trembling, struggling to rise. The mother stood over it, sides heaving, eyes burning with fury. The lioness stood a short distance away, tail flicking, chest rising and falling rapidly. They stared at each other. This was no longer just a hunt. This was a decision. The lioness assessed the situation with brutal clarity. Too many horns. Too much risk. One wrong move and she could be trampled to death. Hunger pulled her forward. Instinct screamed at her to finish what she started. But experience whispered something else. She circled slowly, watching the calf try to stand. Its legs buckled once, twice. Blood stained its side. It was hurt, but alive. The mother never moved away. The herd closed in tighter. A younger buffalo fainted toward the lioness, testing her nerve. Dust swirled again. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the plain. The lioness stopped. Her ears flattened, not in aggression, but in calculation. She turned her head slightly, glancing toward the open plain behind her. No cover, no advantage, no escape if the herd charged again. Finally, she took a step back, then another. Her eyes never left the calf until the distance grew too great. At last, she turned and melted back into the tall grass, her body low, her steps controlled, her hunger unresolved. The herd did not chase. They stood their ground until she disappeared completely. Only then did the mother lower her head and nudge the calf gently. It struggled, then stood, leaning heavily against her leg. Together, they moved back into the safety of the herd. The dust slowly settled. No victor stood over a fallen body. No celebration followed. Only survival. For the calf, life continued, marked by pain, but also by protection. For the lioness, the night would be long, and hunger would return. On the African plain, mercy is not kindness, retreat is not weakness, and survival is never guaranteed, only earned moment by moment. Night crept over the savanna slowly, covering the land in cool shadows. The herd moved on, but not far. They stayed close together, tighter than before, every sense sharpened by what had almost happened. The calf walked with a limp now. Each step was careful, uncertain. Its mother never left its side, her body angled protectively, her head turning at every unfamiliar sound. Other buffalo adjusted their pace to match the injured young one, forming a living barrier around it. Somewhere in the darkness, the lioness watched. She lay beneath a lone acacia tree, her sides rising and falling steadily. The smell of buffalo still clung to the air, sharp and tempting. Hunger twisted inside her, but she did not move, not tonight. She had learned something important. Strength was not always found in teeth or claws. Sometimes it stood its ground. Sometimes it refused to break. As the moon rose higher, insects filled the silence and the plain returned to its endless rhythm. The lioness finally turned away, disappearing into the night in search of another chance. Behind her, the herd kept moving, slowly, stubbornly, together. Because on this land, survival is not about winning every battle. It is about lasting long enough to see another dawn.